Alright, so we are here for the 240 automotive class. We're going to be doing a video on fuel injectors and some of the faults along with some of the voltage and resistance readings for a 2005 Chevy Tahoe with a 5.3 V8 in it.
Okay, so we pulled up a schematic for the fuel injectors. Biggest thing here is power is brought into the system through an ignition relay up here. Bank 1 and Bank 2 both share source voltage, although each bank does have its own fuse. So up here, injector 1 and injector 2 is associated with each bank. As you go down, you will notice that there's switches all in the PCM. So this is a ground side controlled system. The fuses for these are located in the fuse box, which if I come over here, the fuses are right there and right. Okay, so we are currently testing one of the fuel injectors with the connector unplugged. Jack currently has his leads hooked up into the connector. Over here on our DVOM, we are currently reading 13.8, 13.7 ohms. This is within specification for this vehicle due to the specification being 12 to 13 ohms. Okay, so currently we have our voltmeter on and we have leads plugged into cylinder number 3 for that fuel injector, which is right there. Currently with key on, engine off, you're reading 0 volts. We also, through this little system we got going on, we have our Picoscope hooked up, which that is also showing no voltages at all. We're gonna go ahead and turn the car on and see the voltage at idle. As of right now, it's really bouncing around due to that signal, and every time it's pumping fuel into the cylinder. On our Pico, we currently have a basic display. Each time it is injecting voltages. We are now going to rev the engine up to about 2,500 RPM. Biggest thing here to take away is you did see the voltage become much more static and frequent as far as it jumping around. Along with the Pico diagram, we saw how the frequency or amount of signal. Okay, so currently we're going to perform a vacuum leak fault for the vehicle. Right now, just to make sure we still have our leads hooked into positive and negative of the injector. Right there, I am going to be unplugging the PCV hose, which is this guy right there. Currently with key on, engine off, it's at 0 volts. We're going to go ahead and start the car up. Biggest thing here, it looks relatively the same. We still have our Pico hooked up while we're doing this vacuum leak. That somewhat looks the same. It does look our voltage is a little lower, and it does look like it's less consistent as far as when that injector is firing. You can kind of hear it in the engine. It's a little bit rumbling. Okay, so currently we're going to enrich the system using squirts of propane. Vacuum hose is back and plugged in, so we're going to go ahead and shoot some propane into the system. We're going to see what happens to voltage. Looks like our average is much lower. It's not getting above 0.4 volts. Car seems to be doing relatively okay. Pico looks relatively good as well, just besides the decrease in voltage peak. Much lower readings for our average.
So you can see we have our fuel gauge hooked up to our fuel crossover rail here. We are gonna go ahead and start the car up and see what our fuel gauge reads at. So as you can see, our fuel gauge was reading right about 60 PSI. Along with this, we also have our fuel pump relay, which is this relay here. And when the key is turned on, the fuel pump will run for about 3 seconds and then shut off until the car is started.